I did all the math floating around in my head, right? 12 games left,
Uh-huh.
5 points out. The
Okay.
Capitals and the Islanders are ahead of us.
Uh-huh.
2 points a win. This is doable. It's
It's
doable.
it's
It's
doable.
and especially with our goalie playing as hot as he is right now. Oh my goodness.
And
The
this
whole big
is
thing was Capo Kakinen, and then this kid comes
uh,
out of nowhere and it's just playing out of his mind.
and then who comes out of nowhere?
Jonathan Allen, I think
Oh,
is.
yeah, no, he's good. Or at least he was I remember him from like a few years ago, I can swear.
I don't want to get his name wrong, so I'm just double checking it real quick. But how the Rangers been doing while I'm looking this up?
I mean, the Rangers have been there. They had the hot streak. They've kind of hit a little bit of a, up and down recently. They had a tough game against the Winnipeg Jets not too long ago. They got a big win against the Boston Bruins a couple nights ago, though.
Nice.
They got to face the Panthers tonight. They are without Ryan Lindgren and Jacob Trouba on defense, but these are the types of games that you need to win. It's a big game. The Panthers, put a hurt on the Rangers the last time we saw them, but they're in New York this time, so we'll see how it goes.
Uh,
But
I got
but
his name basically right. His name is Jake Allen, not Jonathan Allen,
Jake
but close
Allen,
enough.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, Jonathan Allen is the football player.
Yeah. Yes, that he is.
Jake
Right end for the Minnesota Vikings.
Is he for the Vikings now? Because I knew he was on Washington, or at least he was drafted by Washington.
Was
I
he one?
believe I believe he did leave and sign with somebody else or something like that. But
no. You're right. That's Jonathan Allen. I'm thinking of Jared Allen.
Jared Allen.
We're naming Allens. This is a great way to start the podcast.
Jake Allen, yeah, 33 years old.
Jake Allen is playing out of his freaking mind right now. He's 3-1 as a Devil starter, 1.75 goals against average, and not only that,
Okay.
he's making the big
Yeah.
saves when he needs to. Man, we're really looking for the Islanders to lose here. I think that's gonna put us right back up in it. We're playing the Senators right
Yeah,
now,
yeah, yeah.
one of the more disappointing teams in the league. So I'm hoping that we come out and I close this podcast out and we get that dub.
My world is crumbling around me.
So Jake Allen started his career with St. Louis in 2012, and from 2012 to the 2019-2020 season, actually even up until he was in Montreal in 2020-2021, I will go through his goals against averages in order from the first year of his career up until 2021, his
Right
first
on
year
it.
with the Montreal Canadiens. 2.46,
Mm,
2.28,
okay, better.
2.35, 2.42, 2.75, 2.83, 2.15, and 2.68.
The 2.7 and the 2.8 looks like it was getting ugly, but then he corrected himself right afterwards. 2.1 is very respectable.
And then after that, he's gotten a little older, maybe dealt with some injuries and whatnot. Because since then, 3 years with the Canadiens, he played 35 games, 42 games, and 21 games last year. So maybe that was some injuries. Struggled a little bit. But yeah, it looks like he's trying to make a bounce back and revive his career a little bit here with the Devils and doing well for him.
Hey, if he does it in the Devils uniform, I'm okay with it, man. I am so sick of bad goaltending. I've been telling you for 5 podcast episodes now that the only thing that I talk about on this thing is bad goaltending and bad defense. Well, we
And
got one.
I mean,
Fix
outside of
one.
those, like I said, the last couple of years where it seems like he might have been dealing with injuries or something like that, he's had a very good career. I as soon as you mentioned that name, I'm like, I remember this guy, and I remember him from St. Louis. I think he won. I think he was the goaltender for St. Louis when they won the Stanley Cup,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check, but I believe he might have been.
I have no knowledge of the St. Louis team that won the Stanley Cup. I know they did win the cup, but this was before I was really into hockey.
Yeah, I'm gonna double check, but I believe he might have been on that St. Louis team. Yeah, no, he won the Stanley Cup with St. Louis. He definitely did.
Excellent.
I forget what year that was, but
So not only does that bring us decent goaltending, but it also brings us playoff experience, which is going to be so important. Let him keep playing. That's all I'm saying. As long as he keeps producing
he's
wins.
33 years old. Looks like he's coming off some injuries, so he could very well have plenty left in the tank to help out the Devils.
Listen, man, there's 12 games left. 11 by the time this podcast will be done. Recording at least. Who knows by the time this gets out, maybe 10 or less. But yeah, I mean, as long as you could give me 10 solid games and we could get in there, 5 points is. I feel like 5 points in 11 games. We're talking 2 wins here, 2.5 wins. Come on, man, we got this. We're not out.
You have to hope that the Islanders and the Capitals continue to lose as well.
Well, I mean, if we didn't want to be in this situation, we shouldn't have given up easy points to the Sharks. We shouldn't have given up easy wins to the fucking Phoenix Coyotes. Like, there's so many games where there's a lot of games where if we look back on the end of the season and we did not make the playoffs, we're gonna be looking at those games like, what the fuck, man? Are you kidding me? We lost we're 2 points out and we lost to the Phoenix Coyotes. Are you kidding me? Like, it's not great.
Yeah. But that's all of sports, really. You got
momentum. Get us in the door and let's just see what happens.
And then run into the New York Rangers and lose.
Well, hey,
redemption series for the New York Rangers.
You got to speak it into reality. I get it. So cheers to that.
Okay.
I know that we wanted this to be a big basketball podcast.
Yes, we can do that.
My Oklahoma City Thunder have the exact opposite problem of the New Jersey Devils. And that is it's kind of a similar problem then. It really isn't it? It's just a lack of playoff experience, man.
Yeah.
We got 3 guys on our team right now who you can have a legitimate argument for taking home some end of season hardware. You know what I'm saying? Shea Gilgeous-Alexander has a legitimate argument for MVP. Chet Holmgren and Victor Wembanyama are the only 2 guys that you can vote on right now for Rookie of the Year, and like people will take you seriously, right?
Yeah.
Jalen Williams, not Jalen Williams, Jalen Williams is playing incredible, most improved for sure, man. This guy is shooting 45% right now. He's lights out from 3. He's putting up 25 plus points a game, really being that second option that we needed. And it's really cool to watch these guys grow up and everything like that. I remember like on one of our first episodes, we were talking about the Jalen Williamses, and I said it's just a guy with a really cool and specific superpower where he could turn into 2 people, but only on a basketball court. It's really like that's how Jalen Williams and Jalen Williams played. They were very similar. It was heavy on the defense, not very reliable on shooting, but long and athletic. Basically, a guy that Oklahoma City falls in love with really easily. We always draft long and athletic guys that have a little bit of trouble on offense and hope that offense just kind of matures. With Jalen Williams, it worked out. With Jalen Williams, it did not work out. He's now more of a bench player, and he comes off of rebounds and everything like that. So I'm not saying that he's like useless. He's a good role player, but he's not Jalen Williams. Jalen Williams is not Jalen Williams. No. Jalen Williams is Jalen Williams. Jalen Williams is not Jalen Williams. Stick with me here, okay? The announcers try and do this thing where they call one J Will and one J Dub, but I'm so fried that I can't remember which one's J Will and which one's J Dub. They look the same too. I don't want to pull that kind of card or anything like that. They look similar. They play similar. Not anymore. Jalen Williams is playing like most improved.
Yeah, I think the one that's playing better, I think they've dubbed J Dub. I think
is that J Dub instead of J Will?
I think so. I
kind of like J Will better. That's a shame. I'll take J Dub.
But he's averaging 19.2 points a game this season.
Yeah, he's incredible. So that's J Dub.
So that's J Dub.
See, I like that better. I'm okay. I'm okay with the better Jalen Williams being J Dub. Wild strategy from our GM. Taking 2 Jalen Williams is one of these have got to work.
Yeah. And then the other one, I can't exactly find because I don't exactly know how he spells his first name.
Oh, one is Jalen.
Yeah, that's the good one.
Jaylin.
Okay, that's why. Okay. Yes, So Jay, he is okay. Yeah, no, he's the one that's not doing squat.
He's a good rotational player. He's not doing squat. He's just
But that is Jay
not
Will.
a centerpiece of our offense like Jalen Williams is.
And I mean, yeah, if you think about it, well, okay, so Jay Will, he's a little bit taller. He's 6'9". J Dub is 6'5", and they do put, but.
Well, okay. I think that's because Jay Will's a power forward, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay. He's listed as a center, and J Dub, honestly, they have him listed as a power forward.
We drafted them both as forwards. Yeah. They just came in. It was just forward. It wasn't power or anything like that. It's just forward.
Well, yeah, that's kind of the way the NBA is nowadays too. You don't really have like point guard, shooting guard, small. You have guard, you have forward, and you have center. Like it's kind of not fully positionless anymore, but it's like you have your guards, you have your forwards, and your centers.
I kind of want to disagree with you a little bit. I think with the rise of Nikola Jokic and everything like that, I think that it's become almost completely positionless at this point. I am under the opinion that in like a good 5 years, not really even that far into the future, people are going to be like, why are we even calling these positions the same thing? Like they're going to rename positions. It's not going to be point guards and shooting guards and small forwards anymore because those don't exist anymore. You know?
Well, that's why I'm saying it's really just guard, forward, center. Like it's not,
Yeah.
I understand like Jokic handles the ball a lot, but he is a center. Like he is their center because they have Jamal Murray who handles the ball a lot as well.
He's their center because he's the best rebounder and blocker and he's the biggest guy on the team. But I mean, I think his ball handling is better than Murray's.
It very well could be. But
oh man, you gotta see some of the passes this guy makes. It's incredible, man. The amount of ball vision that this guy has for being 7 feet tall, it's absolutely incredible.
It is.
I mean, we're watching a revolutionary, guys. You play like 24 seconds of really solid D, and then here's just this guy just out of nowhere, just
23.9, and then he just chucks it.
Yeah, from half court, like just a stupid ass shot, and it always goes in. It doesn't matter. So you just gotta. What the
23.9 of perfect defense, and then he just and what? It's like that. I've seen the meme video a couple times of like 3 dudes like in the backyard, and they have like the one dude sitting in the folding chair with like the Nuggets jersey on, and he's sleeping, and they're like, bro, come on, it's time to play, and he's like, huh, what? And he wakes up, and he's literally like, he's acting like Jokic. Like, oh yeah, good D. And
because that's how he acts, man.
Yeah,
it's that's what makes that
dude
looks
so like he's still
funny.
half asleep, and the one guy's like, yeah, good. And they're literally playing 2-on-1. The guy's like all over him, like good D, good. And he just chucks it up like that, and it goes in. The 2 guys are like, the guys under the basket, like, dude, what the hell? Like, what do you want me to do? You want to cover?
It looks so sloppy when you see it. It looks like the dude has no idea what the hell he's doing, and then it just magically just everything works out.
There's like one of them, like he's literally just like dribbling, like looking half asleep, kind of crosses over, goes around the guy, and instead of dunking it, he just kind of like throws it up and like just kind of tosses it in like a little layup. And they're just like, bro, what the fuck is going on? Like,
yeah, I know this is a sports podcast. I'm going to drop a little nerd nugget on you. It always reminded me of like that, all right. So in the Harry Potter universe, for those who don't know, there's a potion that raises your luck where you drink it and just everything that you need just happens to you, right? It's just really good luck. I think they call it Felix Felicis.
I believe so, yeah. I think so.
He drank that potion, bro.
Yeah.
He drank that potion. That dude has no idea how to play NBA basketball at all. He drank the Felix Felicis potion, and it just had a really long-term effect on him. No, that's the only way I could explain it.
He's got he's brewing it at home.
Yeah. Just
wherever
that big old gold pot just sitting there.
Gold pot, and he's got the Space Jam fucking water bottle. Jokic is
the juice. Michael's secret stuff, but it's Nikola's. Yeah,
it's Jokic's secret stuff or Joker's secret stuff, and he's just every game just.
It's what makes those memes funny is that he just does not care about basketball either afterwards.
In all
interviews and everything like that, he's very much just like, this is a job. Like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
going home and playing with my horses after this. Like this,
Yeah.
that's my real life. This, I have to do this because I just so happen to be the best person in the
Yeah.
world at it. Like, I hate basketball. Well, I mean, he doesn't say that,
No,
but that's how
no,
he acts. You know what I'm saying?
it's how he acts, but like those like rumors and stuff have been nixed. Like he does like basketball. It's just this obviously isn't. He understands that like, hey, I'm not going to be doing this for the rest of my life. Like, let
Sure.
me, secure what I want to be doing after basketball. And this is just like, hey, this is making me money now, and it's great. But like, I also have other interests. Like he's basically just kind of, I believe, becoming like that. This is who athletes are. Like, we need to realize that professional athletes aren't just whatever sport they play and that's it. Like, they have lives. They have to think. Like, most of these guys, their careers are done by the time they're 35 to 40.
Mm-hmm.
They got to live another 50, say 40. We'll say 40 because that's like the late 50, 60, 70. They got to live another 40 years without those
that's
paychecks
half their
coming
life.
in. They got to live another half of their life figuring out another way to make money to support themselves.
And
Like,
honestly, this is a new generational thing. I think the Gen Zers, they got that right, man. Because you're right, this is a 10-year job, 15-year job max if you're really good and you condition your body and everything like that. Even if you're playing baseball, which is not exactly the most strenuous of sports and everything like that, but even those guys only last 10, 15 years. You know what I'm saying? There's life way after this, a lot of life. You know what I'm saying? So I get that and I feel that, but the dude really likes horses.
That he does.
I don't know if anybody likes horses quite as much as Jokic likes horses.
Yeah, that is very true, because we did see the clip of him in training camp, like sitting on the bench, and Jamal Williams comes up and sits next to him like, "Yo, what are you doing?" "Oh, I'm checking out my horses." And it's like,
yeah, no, he didn't even want to go to the championship parade. He wanted to be home with his horses.
Well, and
championship parade is like every kid, every American kid's wildest dream is to be in the championship parade of their favorite sport, right? This guy is like, dude,
oh wait, I gotta stay longer. That was like
how long is this? Like everybody else, at 99.99% of everybody else would have died for that opportunity, and this guy, the only thing he's thinking about is his horses. I respect it.
Yeah, but the funniest part of that was, in that interview, he was like, "Wait, what parade? Like, I gotta stay." But then, like, during the parade, they interviewed him. He's like, "Oh no, I was completely wrong. This is fucking amazing. Like, I love this." Still wanted to go home, but he's like, "No, I didn't really know what this was. Like, I'm here now, and like, this is great. I love it."
Yeah, 6 shots in, you'll love anything.
Yeah, and then afterwards, he was like, "All right, yeah, that was great. All right, time to go home."
So how's those Knicks doing? I mean, those Nets doing? No, you're
they're I'm going to say they're completely and utterly out of it. They've currently lost 6 straight. Honestly, haven't been really paying attention to a damn thing that they're doing. I have no idea what's going on with this franchise or where they have to go moving forward to try and make any kind of improvements.
It's a big question mark right now, because you're kind of built around a person. You're building around a guy that's not really like a superstar. You know what I'm saying? Mikal Bridges is a great player. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think he's that superstar level yet. And I don't know if you could build a team around that, without adding at least another Mikal Bridges.
Yeah.
Or somebody equivalent in that position.
Yeah, because, yes, he's a great player. He can, get his shots. He can average, 20 to 25 a game. He's a great two-way player. He's a very good defender. He's lanky. But, yeah, he's just not that, superstar type player. I don't know if he can even really ever get there. He is, 27, 28 years old. So you figure if he was going to reach that superstar potential, it kind of would have happened already.
Yeah.
But, maybe it could just been partially a product of just like the shit storm that the Nets have gone through this year.
First of all, your team is a shitstorm. Second of all, that Mikal Bridges didn't really have a chance or opportunity to shine or show that he could
in Phoenix,
be the number one guy because he had to play behind Devin Booker his entire time in Phoenix. Then Kevin Durant came, and then they traded him out and everything like that. You guys traded him for KD.
Yep.
And now this is like his real time to shine. So I think that, this year you guys kind of just realized, all right, he can't do it himself. You got to get support pieces around him. I don't think that you should do away with him.
No, absolutely not.
Don't blow it up or anything like that, but get some set pieces around this guy. And I think that you guys can be a very Indiana Pacers-esque team with Tyrese Halliburton and what they're doing there. Whereas Tyrese Halliburton is no Kevin Durant. He's no Kawhi Leonard or anything like that, but they have enough set pieces around him that complement his game enough where they're very competitive. I think that you could be that type of team.
Yeah, because with this year there actually were some higher expectations. A lot of people were thinking they could have been one of the better teams in the East, but obviously, yet again, Ben Simmons proved he's a joke at this point.
You're done with him now, right? Come on,
we
man.
have to be done with him.
Gotta be.
I don't know what they do. I think at this point they're just going to have to cut him and eat that money, whatever that is. But they cannot come back next year saying, oh, yeah, Ben Simmons is healthy. He's going to play again. You can't do that. Cam Johnson, obviously, signed the big contract, played great at the end of the year last year, has had a just awful season this year. I think they need to get a couple more pieces in there. I think you can stick with Cam Thomas. I love Cam Thomas. The man is an absolute scoring machine. I think at some point the offense is going to run through him for the most part. You can keep Mikal Bridges. You can, keep Cam Johnson. Hope Cam Johnson bounces back. Other than that, I think they need to. I liked the Dennis Schroeder, trade at the deadline. I know he's had some good games. Again, I haven't really been paying attention to what he's been doing since. I think where you need to look for some type of star player is either at like that kind of point guard position, somebody to run the offense and distribute the offense and do that. And, potentially find somebody else that can play that like power forward position, which they have Dorian Finney-Smith at right now, who's kind of like, I don't mind him. He's a good player, but at the same time, I think you can do better.
I like Dorian Finney-Smith too. I actually thought that was a really good trade that you guys made on the Mavs. And the good news is that if you do plan on building around Bridges, we can sit here and dissect like what is Bridges good at. This is a really stacked free agency class, and I know a lot of guys are going to go back to the teams that they signed for originally. But I'm looking at Spot Rack right now. You guys got, let's get the obvious ones out of the way right now. LeBron James is going back to LA. We know that, okay? But Paul George is probably also going back to LA. But I mean, there are guys like Klay Thompson, Tobias Harris, James Harden is never. Well, you don't want to do that again.
No,
so,
not right now.
Yeah.
That's not
happening. All right, so Spicy P signed traded to Indiana. Maybe he doesn't like to be there. You could definitely get some defense there. I think that you guys could build a really good team out of this free agency class around Mikal Bridges.
No, you probably could. Like I said, you got Bridges, you got Cam Thomas, Cam Johnson, Nick Claxton. Is there when he's healthy. He's a very good, very good piece. I think they need to add some depth. And, what I think would be best is if you can get somebody else to be the starting power forward and have Finney-Smith coming off the bench. Okay. That's where, he would fit in this team best.
And do you want him as a rotational player or as like a six-man? Has he proven that he can at least contribute enough to do that?
I think he would be a good, like a potential like six-man 3-and-D type of guy off the bench.
I like that. So you're gonna shoot for Spicy P then.
I still
In
have no
free
idea who that
agency.
is.
Oh, Spicy P, Pascal Siakam, the guy,
Oh,
power forward from the
yeah,
Toronto Raptors.
yeah. I've never heard him called that before. That's why I had no idea who you were talking about.
Everybody calls him Spicy P. I thought that was just a known thing. I'm sorry.
Nope, not me.
Well, he got traded to Indiana, and he might not like it there. Who knows? He's on the
Yeah,
last year of his contract. If Indiana doesn't make a deep playoff run, I mean that is a really good defensive player for you guys.
yeah, and offensive too, obviously.
So, yeah, 20 points. Yeah. And the good thing about Mikal Bridges is, and I'm on Spot Rack right now, so I've got your entire salary thing in front of me. You only owe him $20 million for the next 3 years. So, I mean, that is plenty of money that you can build a very, very good team around this guy. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to take up the salary cap space. You're paying him as if he was kind of like a secondary guy, even though he's your first option.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm liking the future of the new Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe
Like
not so much. It definitely didn't translate after the
year.
trade right away. But I think a year or two, looking back on this is going to be a good idea for you guys.
Yeah, like I said, especially with the emergence of Cam Thomas and a guy showing, dude, this kid can average freaking 30 points a game if he wants to.
So you got Cam Thomas in your forward role. Yeah, I think then
honestly, Cam Thomas is a guard. That's the only thing where it gets kind of tricky is because like you need somebody to like run the point, which Schroeder I would presume probably is right now, and that's the only thing I'm guessing if everybody's healthy right now, their starting five would be Schroeder, Cam Thomas, Bridges at the 3, Cam Johnson or Finney Smith at the 4, and then Claxton at the 5. So depending on what you do, if you sign somebody like Siakam, I just don't know how they would, configure that. Unless they wanted to, have Mikal Bridges as like the primary ball handler and have like him and Cam Thomas in the backcourt with Cam Johnson and like Siakam as the forwards and then Claxton at the 5. I don't know. It depends on what the Nets do, where they decide to go.
I keep Claxton for sure.
Oh, yeah.
You got to keep Claxton for sure. The last guy that looked as good in a Brooklyn Nets uniform that was playing center was Jonathan Allen, and you guys traded him to the Cavaliers.
Jared Allen.
Yeah. Jared Allen.
Jared Allen.
All right. Well, either way, you traded him to the Cavaliers, and that was a big mistake.
Yeah.
I love Jared Allen. I had a special soft spot in my heart for him. He was a big anime nerd. He liked to call himself Afro Ninja.
Fear the Fro.
I was down with that.
Fear the Fro. Yeah, that was
Fear the Fro.
Fear the Fro. But obviously, biggest thing is at this point Ben Simmons needs to be gone at the end of the season. Just you're not going to be able to trade him. You just got to cut him and deal with that loss and pay whatever money you got to pay.
Yeah, I mean, if the Broncos are doing the same with Russell Wilson, I mean, this is just like an embarrassment thing at this point. You just got to cut your losses. You know what I'm saying? It's no person in their right mind would pay Ben Simmons money to play basketball for their professional team.
Not anymore.
2024. No, it's just not going to happen.
Over the last, I think, 3 seasons, the guy has maybe played a total of 82 games in 3 years.
It's disgusting, and every time it comes back, it's like heralded in the New York media because you guys had to go to New York. You couldn't just stay here in New Jersey, so you had to go to New York and be a part of the New York media. And this Ben Simmons is coming back. He's the greatest guy ever. This is where his career starts right now.
And he plays 2 games and he gets hurt again.
2 games later, and something else happens.
Yeah,
it's embarrassing at this point.
It's another nerve thing in his back, or I think that's what it is at this point. It was something else with the nerves in his back or something like that. They shut him down for the season.
I don't want to wish anything. I don't want to say like he's like being a bitch or a baby or anything like that. Just not playing. Back pain is the worst pain that you can deal with, my friend.
But it's like at some point you have to realize that this guy might never be healthy which sucks. But at some point the realization has to be all right, I think this injury is probably the end of his career, and I think we just have to like say hey, dude,
call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
Call a spade a spade. Your back's done. It's time to move on.
Mm-hmm. Which, like I said, sucks because when he is healthy, he's a very good basketball player. He's,
is he?
He is. He's one of the, when he's actually healthy and playing at his best, he's one of the best defenders in the league. He has great court vision. He can distribute the ball really well. He's going to get you a lot of, steals and assists, and he can he'll score some points when he gets an open layup.
This is your team. I know you have to defend your team and all the embarrassing decisions that they make. But hear me out. From the start and from his first season, probably after his first season, because I think he had a really good first season, didn't he? He had a very good first season.
He had a very good, however many years it was in Philly.
Nah, I think he only had a good season or two. From the time that I've seen this guy, I thought to myself, the GM of the 76ers looked at this guy and said, I have a role player power forward who can pass the ball pretty well. I'm just going to make him my point guard. I don't think he has good defense. I don't think he has good defense. He's 8 inches taller than the other point guards. That's his defense.
Okay.
That's it. Well, I'm just saying, I don't think that qualifies you as good defense.
Why not?
I think that if you put Dorian Finney-Smith as your point guard, taught him to pass the ball a little bit, I think you'd have Ben Simmons.
I don't think so.
I don't know, man. I haven't seen anything that's told me otherwise. The dude is not a star player. He shies away from the spotlight. It was very obvious in his only playoff run with the Philadelphia 76ers. And yeah, he has amazing defense as a point guard because he's 10 inches taller than everybody else.
Okay.
That's not good defense. You're taller than everybody else.
You still got to do it, though.
I don't know, man. 10 points a game, 10 rebounds a game, 10 assists a game. That's a rotational power forward that's out of position in my eyes. I don't think that guy was ever a superstar. I said that straight from the beginning. I never
said he was a superstar either. I just said he was a good player.
Yeah, I never believed in Ben Simmons. I thought it was a really dumb idea that you guys got him and everything. I'm glad that you guys could cut ties with him now so that this guy can stop being in the league.
Here's the thing. I thought it could have potentially been a good idea at the time because they still had Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, and all they needed him to do was play defense, dish out assists.
Yeah, was pass the ball.
That's all they needed him to do. Now the fact that they wanted to try and run the offense through him, that's where you kind of lost it.
Yeah, and even then, first of all, he failed at even that most basic level of NBA play. I am not a guy who is going to sit here and say that I can play at an NBA level. All I'm saying is if you give me Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant and James Harden, and you tell me all you got to do is pass the ball to them, I bet you I could get the ball to them.
Yeah, but he never actually freaking played with them. They traded Harden to get.
Yeah, because he had the yips and the willies.
And then Ben Simmons never played because he was always friggin' hurt.
Yeah.
And then Durant got hurt and Kyrie went fucking mental. And now all of a sudden, you know what? Since we mentioned Kyrie Irving, I have to mention the fact that Mark Cuban must be some kind of fucking wizard. Because ever since Kyrie Irving has gotten to Dallas, we haven't heard fucking shit in the media about Kyrie Irving. And all he's done is actually play basketball.
Mark Cuban's got a little bit more balls than whoever the owner of the New York Nets, the Brooklyn Nets has got. Yeah. Mark Cuban went to Kyrie Irving, I guarantee you, when he signed him or traded for him or whatever, and said, you bring that flat earth bullshit around here, I'm cutting you. Period.
Maybe he did. And good for him. Like, I know the Mavericks haven't had a great season this year record-wise, but again, at least like media-wise, you haven't heard any crazy shit about Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, I'm going to check the stats just to see. But as far as I know, he's actually showed up and played like a decent amount of basketball this year.
Yeah, it's wild when you don't when like you gotta almost like treat him like a kid. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you gotta show that he needs a little discipline. You gotta show him who's the boss a little bit, or else he just runs wild. You know.
Let's see. Okay, he's played 48 games this year.
Now we're not gonna don't read off the stats because it's not in the stats. Kyrie Irving was never about the stats. It's the magical way that this guy handles the ball. Did you see that left-handed running game winner?
Oh yeah, I did see that.
Oh my goodness, that was that was art hanging in the Louvre. I'm telling you, man, right next to the Mona Lisa. Put it right there.
Obviously, I don't know the reasons, why he's. I mean, 48 games still isn't bad, but he's averaging 25.3 points a game.
Ugh.
That's pretty damn good.
Why couldn't you do that in Brooklyn?
I mean, realistically, he did that in Brooklyn. Look at his years in Brooklyn. 27.4, 26.9, and 27.4.
When he showed up.
When he showed up.
But that's the big key.
That was his first year there. He played 20 games. Second year there, played 54. And then 29.
This is 20 games, 54 games, and 29, and that
54. And
54, then, that sounds like a lot, right? He wasn't injured.
No.
He was just being a fucking idiot.
It was both. Sometimes he was injured, other times he was just being an idiot. Like, I don't want to get my COVID shot. All right, well, then you're not going to fucking play.
Well, then you can't play.
Yeah. Like, it was his decision not to get the COVID shot, whatever. But at the same time, like, it was like a whole thing in the NBA. Like, New York still had the vaccine mandate. And it just kind of, a lot of people had mentioned this, like, it just kind of seemed like, okay, like, whatever your beliefs might be, if we got to get the shot, just get the shot because we're here to try and win a championship. So let's go win a championship. And Kyrie just said, I don't feel like it.
Now, you could correct me. Now, this is both of our podcasts, so you could correct me if I'm wrong. We are not a politics podcast, okay?
No.
But we are a facts podcast. We are a legitimate brains podcast. I feel like I may not be the smartest person in the world, but I have a fucking brain, okay? Right? I believe you do too. Otherwise, we wouldn't be friends, okay? I just the shit that comes out of this guy's mouth, man, pissing me off.
That was pretty much the situation. Was New York still had the vaccine mandate at the time, so Kyrie wasn't going to be able to play home games if he wasn't vaccinated. And the Nets just basically said, well, we're not going to have you play just the away games and not be able to play at home because you're not vaccinated. And it was pretty much like the rest of the team was like, hey, we got vaccinated. We thought you were part of this team. You wanted to be. And he was just like, oh, no, I'm not getting vaccinated because of my beliefs, this, that, the other thing.
My beliefs.
But
I'm an idiot. My beliefs are I'm an idiot.
It's kind of like, all right, so you're basically turning your back on your team, and that's where everything just went to shit. Kevin Durant handled all of it in like the worst fucking way possible, and just was like, "Yeah, I'm going to."
By not handling it, right? I believe that was kind of pretty much his take was just, well, he's just going to do his own thing. I'm not touching
pretty
this.
much. Like it's like, yeah, we're friends. I talked to him about it, but he's going to do his own thing, and I don't like it, so I'm just going to kind of say whatever. And then he kind of took his ball and ran to Phoenix, which it is what it is. But
I don't blame KD. That was all Kyrie. I wouldn't want to be stuck with that kind of mental illness either.
No.
Ugh.
That was just even after they traded Kyrie to Dallas. Durant was still there. There was the potential for the Nets to do other stuff and keep Durant and quickly retool around him, but Durant just didn't want to do that. I guess he had like a meeting with the Nets and they're like, well, you know what? We're going to go in this direction. And Durant was like, all right, well, I don't want to be a part of that. Get me out of here.
Yeah.
But it all started with him not really taking any kind of like leadership role off the court, especially, like I said, with his good friend Kyrie Irving and just
I
kind
mean,
of.
I don't even really look at it like that. I think KD just kind of did what we all do, which, like, if anybody who loves basketball watches Kyrie Irving and just doesn't listen to anything that he says, that guy's magic.
He
I
is.
don't know how he does the things that he does with a basketball. It's untouchable. Kobe couldn't do that shit. MJ couldn't do that shit. The things he does with a basketball are special, dude. Like, you're starting a new job. You find a guy who's really good at the craft, so you want him to kind of like take you under his wing and everything like that. Be like, okay, we're gonna make something special here out of the both of us and everything like that. And then he comes at you with like, hey, do you know Joe Biden's a reptile? And you're like, what did I get myself into?
Yeah.
This guy's just really good at his job. I thought
Yeah.
that maybe if I just stuck with him, it would help me. And now he's talking about reptiles. I don't know what's going on. Like, so I think it was kind of that.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. That it's all behind us at this point. The Nets are where they're at right now. It's going to take them some time to recover from this. It is what it is.
So I mean, it's not as bad as the 2010 trade with the Celtics and everything like that. It's not going to take you nearly as long to recover,
Yeah.
but it does have to feel, I guess, extremely frustrating, right? Just kind
Yeah.
of like we did this already. How did we
Yeah.
not learn from our mistakes? You want to speak
Exactly.
on that a little bit?
Exactly. That was the biggest thing I talked about all the time when that off season came up, and they're like, oh, what are the Nets going to do? They were coming off a time where, like, yeah, they had just barely made it into the playoffs. They were kind of around a 500 type team, but they had that good core with D'Angelo Russell, who the LA Lakers said, no, you're a bum, get out of here. They shipped him to Brooklyn, and all of a sudden, D'Angelo Russell was like, what did the Lakers say about me? All right, no, let's get to business. And that team was just so much fun to watch, so much fun to root for. Like, I remember, I don't know if I watched it or if I saw the highlights of a game they played against, I believe it was the Sacramento Kings. It was like halfway through the third quarter. They were down by like 32 points, and they ended up coming all the way back from like 32 down to win the game. And I'm like, I think they need to reward D'Angelo Russell, sign him to a big contract, and just keep building around that. Maybe bring in another, and it's like, oh, nope, the first day of free agency, Nets are signing Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. And I looked at that, and my exact thoughts were like, okay, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, either it's going to work because, all right, the whole thing was Kyrie Irving, like a New Jersey guy. He's kind of
They both have championship pedigrees.
Yeah, it was like Kyrie made his decision to come to Brooklyn. It's kind of a homecoming because he's from New Jersey and this and that, and maybe that'll maybe he won't go nuts like he did in fucking Boston. You got Kevin Durant, and I'm like, okay, if on paper this looks good, and if it works, we will see the Brooklyn Nets winning a championship within the next like 3 years. I'm like, if it doesn't work, if they don't win a championship within the next 3 to 4 years, it's going to end in a dumpster fire. And it ended in dumpster fire.
Predictably.
Yeah.
I mean, even not predictably, because I don't want to say that. That's 2020 hindsight and everything like that.
It
Kevin
is.
Durant and Kyrie Irving both had a championship pedigree. Like you said, Kyrie Irving was home cooking and everything like that. But I was gonna jump in for a second and offer my take, and I'm glad that I decided to let you cook because I am 100% in agreement on that D'Angelo Russell Brooklyn Nets team. Listen to me, man.
That was great.
My dad is a diehard basketball fan, was a diehard New Jersey Nets fan and everything like that. He tried to raise me to be a New Jersey Nets fan, but they always lost. I couldn't just keep watching losing and everything like that. So I moved on, I migrated and everything like that. I'm now just kind of generally an NBA fan. A lot of people consider me a Thunder fan because I know a lot about the Thunder because I love the Thunder. I've been watching them since Kevin Durant was there and everything like that. But I mean, I'm just generally an NBA fan. But like at the same time, man, I've never had more fun watching the Nets than when it was the Jared Dudley, D'Angelo Russell, Spencer Dinwiddie, Jared Allen, Karis LeVert Nets. Those guys were
so much
fun, man.
Oh, it was
so
great.
fun. It was Jared Dudley, the dad.
On the bench.
It was Jared Dudley, the dad that like protected all the little kids from like they were all having fun, and then Jared Dudley, the dad, came in and was like, "All right, you're not fucking with these guys," and everything like that. He was the backbone behind it. I loved watching those guys.
Dude, hitting big threes. Everybody on the bench is dancing. And,
man, they were all dancing, having a good time. This was just a fun team, man.
And
it sucked blowing it up. It sucks blowing it up. And if I was the GM of the Nets and somebody said, I'm going to give you Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, I probably would have done the same thing. But man,
I know. Yeah.
Man, 2020 hindsight, blowing up that fun of a team for this much of a disaster just sucks so much.
Because I mean, the Durant and Kyrie thing, I was like, okay, this could work. But then the thing that really just cooked me with this team, that just really made me felt that it was going to end up ending in the dumpster fire, is when they made the James Harden trade. I'm like, dude, this is a guy who was in Houston and all of a sudden decided to say, no, I don't want to be here anymore. And literally just was a complete and utter, like, just like crybaby, bratty, just, I'm going to sit here until you get rid of me. I'm like, I don't want this guy on my team. Like, at just watching this happen, what he was doing to Houston, I'm like, why would anybody? And then the Nets made that trade, and they gave up Jared Allen, they gave up LeVert, they gave up all these draft picks, and I'm like, what are these guys doing? What are these guys doing? Why did they make this trade? And then obviously, the hindsight, it comes down, the big three played a combined like 8 games together or whatever it was.
That's disgraceful.
It was like, or 16 is another number popping into my head, but I feel like that's even too high. It might have been like 8 or 12. And I'm just like, what is going? And then things started going downhill because it's like, the big three. I'm like, okay, but they have James Harden, Durant, Irving. After that, they have nobody on the bench because they got rid of all their depth, and they can't afford any more because they're paying 3 guys a combined like $500 freaking million or whatever the hell it was. And I'm like, how are you supposed to win with just 3 guys and nobody on the bench?
That was another thing. The first year, it was literally those 3 guys and no one else. Yeah, and DeAndre Jordan. Don't forget about DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah, DeAndre Jordan. I forgot about
washed up, broken ass.
Yeah. And then it came down to Kevin Durant's foot being too big by like that much.
You can't forget about DeAndre Jordan's paper mache knees, okay? It's not, I mean, those paper mache knees did some work for you guys, okay? They played in 2 games? Okay, so let's be respectful.
They came that close to beating the Bucks, and that was, again, Irving. James Harden, I actually, at that point in that series, gained a little respect for her because it was like, Harden's playing with a bad hamstring. You could kind of tell he's not 100%, but he's out there giving it what he's got. And Kyrie Irving sitting on the bench in street clothes with a sore ankle or whatever it was. And I'm like, what the fuck is it? Like, you can't just go out there and give him 15 minutes a game.
And that's what it turned into. That's what it turned into. It was like, it turned into, you started out with a bunch of guys that were just there for the team. It was just like, it didn't matter what they were accomplishing. It was a bunch of role players that were playing above their standard for team, for them.
It was almost,
and then you go from that to the very next year to going into just very self-serving attitudes just all around. You know what I'm saying? Kyrie Irving with all the self-serving shit that he does, and then Kevin Durant tried to pull the team together for a while, and then after he knew he couldn't get through to Kyrie Irving and that this was
He
just
just
going to
kind
keep
of gave up.
continuing, he started doing self-serving shit. And James Harden is all
Oh,
about self-serving
yeah.
shit. So I mean,
Yeah, like I said, I had gained a little respect during that Bucks series because, like, all right, you can tell he's not 100%, but he's still out there trying to do his. And then come the next season, it's like, all right, let's see if we can get a healthy season out of this. And then, like, 20 games into the season, James Harden, I don't want to be here anymore. I never wanted to be in Brooklyn. It's like, what the fuck do you talk? You asked Houston to trade you to Brooklyn. What do you mean you don't want to be here anymore? And that's when it was like, all right, no, they're done. That's it.
You're starting a new job. You find a guy who's really good at the craft, so you want him to kind of like take you under his wing and everything like that. Be like, okay, we're gonna make something special here out of the both of us and everything like that. And then he comes at you with like, hey, do you know Joe Biden's a reptile? And you're like, what did I get myself into?
Yeah.
This guy's just really good at his job. I thought that maybe if I just stuck with him, it would help me. And now he's talking about reptiles. I don't know what's going on. Like, so I think it was kind of that.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. That it's all behind us at this point. The Nets are where they're at right now. It's going to take them some time to recover from this. It is what it is.
So I mean, it's not as bad as the 2010 trade with the Celtics and everything like that. It's not going to take you nearly as long to recover, but it does have to feel, I guess, extremely frustrating, right? Just kind of like we did this already. How did we not learn from our mistakes? You want to speak on that a little bit?
Exactly. That was, the biggest thing I talked about all the time when that off season came up, and they're like, oh, what are the Nets going to do? They were coming off a time where, like, yeah, they had just barely made it into the playoffs. They were kind of around a 500 type team, but they had that good core with D'Angelo Russell, who the LA Lakers said, no, you're a bum, get out of here. They shipped him to Brooklyn, and all of a sudden, D'Angelo Russell was like, what did the Lakers say about me? All right, no, let's get to business. And that team was just so much fun to watch, so much fun to root for. Like, I remember, I don't know if I watched it or if I saw the highlights of a game they played against, I believe it was the Sacramento Kings. It was like halfway through the third quarter. They were down by like 32 points, and they ended up coming all the way back from like 32 down to win the game. And I'm like, I think they need to reward D'Angelo Russell, sign him to a big contract, and just keep building around that. Maybe bring in another, and it's like, oh, nope, the first day of free agency, Nets are signing Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. And I looked at that, and my exact thoughts were like, okay, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, either it's going to work because, all right, the whole thing was Kyrie Irving, like a New Jersey guy. He's kind of
coming. They both have championship pedigrees.
Yeah, it was like Kyrie made his decision to come to Brooklyn. It's kind of a homecoming because he's from New Jersey and this and that, and maybe that'll, maybe he won't, go nuts like he did in fucking Boston. You got Kevin Durant, and I'm like, okay, if on paper this looks good, and if it works, we will see the Brooklyn Nets winning a championship within the next, like, 3 years. I'm like, if it doesn't work, if they don't win a championship within the next 3 to 4 years, it's going to end in a dumpster fire. And it ended in dumpster fire.
Predictably.
Yeah.
I mean, even not predictably, because I don't want to say that. That's 2020 hindsight and everything. Like
it
Kevin
is.
Durant and Kyrie Irving both had a championship pedigree. Like you said, Kyrie Irving was home cooking and everything like that. But I was gonna jump in for a second and offer my take, and I'm glad that I decided to let you cook because I am 100% in agreement on that D'Angelo Russell Brooklyn Nets team. Listen to me, man.
That was great.
My dad is a diehard basketball fan, was a diehard New Jersey Nets fan and everything like that. He tried to raise me to be a New Jersey Nets fan, but they always lost. I couldn't just keep watching losing and everything like that. So I moved on, I migrated and everything like that. I'm now just kind of generally an NBA fan. A lot of people consider me a Thunder fan because I know a lot about the Thunder because I love the Thunder. I've been watching them since Kevin Durant was there and everything like that. But I mean, I'm just generally an NBA fan. But like at the same time, man, I've never had more fun watching the Nets than when it was the Jared Dudley, D'Angelo Russell, Spencer Dinwiddie, Jared Allen, Karis LeVert Nets. Those guys were
so much
fun, man.
Oh, it was
so
great.
Fun. It was Jared Dudley, the dad.
On the bench.
It was Jared Dudley, the dad that like protected all the little kids from like they were all having fun, and then Jared Dudley, the dad, came in and was like, "All right, you're not fucking with these guys," and everything like that. He was the backbone behind it. I loved watching those guys.
Dude, hitting big threes, everybody on the bench is dancing. And,
man, they were all dancing, having a good time. This was just a fun team, man, and it sucked blowing it up. It sucks blowing it up. And if I was the GM of the Nets and somebody said, "I'm gonna give you Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant," I probably would have done the same thing. But man,
I know,
man, 2020 hindsight, blowing up that fun of a team for this much of a disaster just sucks so much.
Because I mean, the Durant and Kyrie thing, I was like, okay, this could work. But then the thing that really just cooked me with this team, that just really made me felt that it was going to end up ending in the dumpster fire, is when they made the James Harden trade. I'm like, dude, this is a guy who was in Houston and all of a sudden decided to say, no, I don't want to be here anymore. And literally just was a complete and utter, like, just like crybaby, bratty, just, I'm going to sit here until you get rid of me. I'm like, I don't want this guy on my team. Like, at just watching this happen, what he was doing to Houston, I'm like, why would anybody? And then the Nets made that trade, and they gave up Jared Allen, they gave up LeVert, they gave up all these draft picks, and I'm like, what are these guys doing? What are these guys doing? Why did they make this trade? And then obviously, the hindsight, it comes down, the big three played a combined like 8 games together or whatever it was.
That's disgraceful.
It was like, or 16 is another number popping into my head, but I feel like that's even too high. It might have been like 8 or 12. And I'm just like, what is going? And then things started going downhill because it's like, the big three. I'm like, okay, but they have James Harden, Durant, Irving. After that, they have nobody on the bench because they got rid of all their depth. And they can't afford anymore because they're paying 3 guys a combined like $500 freaking million or whatever the hell it was. And I'm like, how are you supposed to win with just 3 guys and nobody on the bench?
That was another thing. The first year, it was literally those 3 guys and no one else. Yeah, and DeAndre Jordan. Don't forget about DeAndre Jordan.
DeAndre Jordan. I forgot about
washed up, broken ass.
Yeah. And then it came down to Kevin Durant's foot being too big by like that much.
You can't forget about DeAndre Jordan's paper mache knees, okay? It's not, I mean, those paper mache knees did some work for you guys, okay? They played in 2 games? Okay, so let's be respectful.
They came that close to beating the Bucks, and that was, again, Irving. James Harden, I actually, at that point in that series, gained a little respect for her because it was like, Harden's playing with a bad hamstring. You could kind of tell he's not 100%, but he's out there giving it what he's got. And Kyrie Irving sitting on the bench in street clothes with a sore ankle or whatever it was. And I'm like, what the fuck is it? Like, you can't just go out there and give him 15 minutes a game.
And that's what it turned into. That's what it turned into. It was like, it turned into, you started out with a bunch of guys that were just there for the team. It was just like, it didn't matter what they were accomplishing. It was a bunch of role players that were playing above their standard for team, for them.
It was almost,
and then you go from that to the the very next year to going into just very self-serving attitudes just all around. You know what I'm saying? Kyrie Irving with all the self-serving shit that he does, and then Kevin Durant tried to pull the team together for a while, and then after he knew he couldn't get through to Kyrie Irving and that this was just going to keep continuing, he started doing self-serving shit. And James Harden's all about self-serving shit. So I mean,
like I said, I had gained a little respect during that Bucks series because it's like, all right, you can tell he's not 100%, but he's still out there trying to do his. And then come the next season, it's like, all right, let's see if we can get a healthy season out of this. And then like 20 games into the season, James Harden, I don't want to be here anymore. I never wanted to be in Brooklyn. It's like, what the fuck do you talk? You asked Houston to trade you to Brooklyn. What do you mean you don't want to be here anymore? And that's when it was like, all right, no, they're done. That's it. He's playing for the Clippers, and I mean, we'll see how that works. But you see the clip of him from...
You want to know why I didn't know that? I don't take the 76ers or the Clippers very seriously at all. All right. And this is just me as just like I don't really have a stake in any team, so you can't really say that I'm being a hater or anything like that. I know that Nets and Knicks fans, and we're pretty much, it looks like we're trending mostly in New York. Most of the people that we have been viewing us are in the New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Delaware area. Okay, so I know we're probably talking to a lot of New York fans. I don't hate the 76ers. Okay, I just don't take them very seriously at all as a threat. I don't.
It's kind of hard to, obviously I'm a Nets fan. Nets aren't making the playoffs anyway. But it's like the Sixers have fallen apart in the playoffs for how many straight seasons at this point?
I don't think they got it.
Where it started with the Ben Simmons passing up the open layup and they lose, to, what was it, a couple of years ago, Joel Embiid laid like a big old goose egg against, I think it was the Celtics in the second round, whatever it was.
Joel Embiid is not a guy to build a modern NBA team around.
He's not. He's not.
He's too much of an old school Shaq type center, and while that's great and dominant, and he's an amazing player and probably one of the best pure centers in our, he is the best pure center in our league, but like the 76ers are building around that, and I don't think that you can at this point.
Yeah. Especially when
the NBA is way too fast paced now. The way NBA is way too offensive oriented. Guard play and forward play is dominant. Joel Embiid doesn't really factor into that very much.
Yeah, and especially considering of how often he gets injured.
Oh yeah, I mean that too. I mean, not even speaking on injuries. But yes, that is why I do not take them very seriously. I don't take the Clippers very seriously, so I don't really pay attention to them that much. Yeah. Granted, for the record, if we're talking about teams I don't take seriously, go ahead and throw the Lakers in there too.
Yeah.
They ain't getting past the first round if they even make the playoffs. They ain't gonna be there. You throw you could throw the old Warriors in there, the version of the Warriors that has been dominant our entire lives, except for this time they're all old enough to be in a retirement home. So, like, I mean, there's only so much Steph Curry can do. Klay Thompson's done. Draymond Green's done. The youth that they tried to build around to keep the dynasty going and everything like that. Andrew Wiggins is gone. I mean, Jonathan Wiseman's a bust.
Yeah, they traded him.
Yeah.
He's gone.
And he hasn't done anything either.
In Detroit, I think he is now, last I knew. They traded him to Detroit. He still wasn't doing anything. I think the only one that's really kind of stuck around and done okay so far is Jonathan Kuminga.
Kuminga's a good guy.
Yeah, like he's decent. Obviously we know what happened with Jordan Poole. He's dicking around Washington now. Just
making Washington worse, which is hilarious. It makes I love Washington.
I got my money. I'm just here to have fun now. Like, what the fuck?
I love Washington teams being a complete joke. Like, I love how that's uniform in every sport. If you're from Washington DC, you're a joke. That's fine. I love that. Jordan Poole making a comedy of errors in every single Wizards game that's ever been. The Commander/Redskins/ Washington football team / Washington whatevers. They're a joke. They've been a joke for forever.
Yeah.
The Nationals, they may have won a title, but they've been kind of shitty recently.
I mean, they've been bad recently. Plus, I think they're still behind the scenes dealing with the whole Steven Strasburg thing, wanting his money, and he was going to retire last year and then decided not to retire because they didn't want to pay him what they owed him, and because the guy's never going to pitch again. Like, I'm pretty sure his arm's completely shot. And
it's that bad, really?
Yeah, and I don't believe he is ever going to be able to pitch again.
Damn. And rest in peace. That sucks, man. I'm sorry.
It was all set up. He was going to retire last year, and the retirement got canceled because I think there was some dispute where the Nationals, when he was going to retire, the Nationals didn't want to pay him whatever the full amount of money they still owed him or something like that. There was some dispute over they didn't want to pay him as much or some sort of money dispute or whatever it was. And yeah, he's still technically under contract with the Nationals, but has no actual affiliation with them. It is just, I don't even know anymore.
Bryce Harper leaves the Nationals, says he's going to retire there, wants to be a National for life, leaves, goes to the Phillies and wins a World Series the first year he leaves. It's just, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
And you could say, oh, well, Kyle, what about the Washington Capitals? The Ovechkin's had success. They've had, okay. Tell me, Ryan, how many cups has Alexander Ovechkin won?
I believe it's one. I think he did get one. Okay. And even that, I think at this point was
Ovechkin is going to break Wayne Gretzky's record for most goals scored in a career.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is. He's 30 goals away. He's going to play next year. You're telling me he's not going to score 30 goals in a season? You're telling me right now that Alexander Ovechkin, I can bet legit money on this. I will literally bet you this. Alexander Ovechkin is not going to score 30 goals next year and beat the record.
He's playing next season?
I bet you he is. I'll bet you he is. Why would you retire that short? Because the dude's we're talking about a record that's never even been touched recently. Okay, we're talking about Hank Aaron's record. This is the type of legitimacy that we're talking about. We're talking about Wilt Chamberlain's 100 points, legend stuff.
Yeah, if that even actually ever happened.
Okay, he's 30 goals away.
Okay.
You're telling me he's not going to come back for another year for that?
The dude's 45.
He's got to. You got one more year. I think he's got it.
Well, we'll see.
I think he's got it.
If he plays next year, sure.
I think he's got it. And I've never been an Ovechkin fan. Obviously, he's on the Washington Capitals. I've never been a Sidney Crosby fan either, okay? He's on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Fuck both of them, okay? Yeah. But Ovechkin, greatest goal scorer of our time, and he has one cup to prove for.
One, yeah.
One. The greatest goal scorer of our time has one cup because the Capitals could not build the team around him.
And he's been
however many years he's been playing.
He's been in the league for 22 years.
Yeah, we're talking multiple decades at this point, and you can't build a fucking team around this guy.
Sure, but let's see. He's been in the league.
I mean, I thought you were over exaggerating when you said 45. Yeah. I knew he wasn't anywhere.
I was thinking he was 40 or 41, something like that.
If you had asked me, I would have said 40.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But if he does play next year, it would be his 20th season, so I could potentially see that.
Yeah, Jaromir Jagr's still playing, bro.
Yeah. Obviously, yes, not in the NHL, but yeah, he is still playing out there.
Hey, man, he's still playing.
Yeah, 5 years old or something like that. Whatever it is.
The KHL or the
I don't know where
hockey league
now, but yeah, he is playing someplace.
Dude loves hockey.
I don't know what to tell you. 846 goals in his career, and he's won one Stanley Cup.
One.
Let's get in a little bit of baseball here because I thought we might have had a little bit more time, but the regular season starts in less than a week from when we're recording. Regular season is set to kick off on March 28th. So we are actually right there. And I have to say, I'm kind of liking where the Mets are at right now.
We had an excellent spring training.
Spring training. You know, a lot of the guys that needed to show something, like Harrison Bader, has looked good.
They all showed something. Quintana.
Quintana's
been looking lights out. Severino's been looking lights out.
Severino, Manaea, McGill, Alvarez, Edwin Diaz, coming off the injury, have all looked good. And to top it all off, as of a couple days ago, whatever it was, the Mets just signed JD Martinez to a 1-year contract. So they have their DH.
I believe you were fighting this, weren't you? Last podcast. What didn't I say? JD Davis and Tony Snell weren't signed, and you were like, "I don't want to sign him for the money."
JD Martinez and Blake Snell. Yes.
Not the same.
I don't remember, but the Mets signed him. He's going to be there eventually. Obviously, because it's so close to the start of the season, they have already announced that he's going to start the year in AAA in the minors. Obviously, he has to get his spring training and reps in because he wasn't there. But at this point, it adds a veteran, presence into the lineup. It adds a home run threat into the lineup. I think the only reason if I'm remembering correctly, the only reason I think I was against it was because at the time, I think it was about how much money he was going to be asking for.
Yeah, it was a money thing.
Yeah,
for sure.
But at this point, they signed him for 1 year for $12 million. He deferred a lot of it. I think he's only taken like $3.5 million this year or something like that. So once he does get there, it's going to add some protection for Pete Alonso. It's going to give the Mets a guy they can put behind him in the lineup. The only obviously other thing, that does is it kind of, hinders the opportunity that, Mark Vientos is going to get to prove that he, has something to offer.
And that sucks for Vientos because he's younger, so you would want that opportunity to go to him. You know what I'm saying?
At the same time, what you would hope for at this point is you got JD Martinez for 1 season. Maybe he comes in and from what I heard, he's already kind of taken to this role of, taking Vientos under his wing and saying, hey, here's some things to work on. Here's some things to look for, and so at this point, maybe later in the season, at some point in this season, or if not completely next year, it's like, okay, Vientos, we're giving you the reins at DH. Show us what you got. The fight was between Beatty and Vientos to see who was going to be the third baseman. Beatty has it for now.
I kind of don't even like that. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't even feel like that decisive of a victory where I feel like maybe they should be splitting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
give Vientos some days, give Beatty some days.
Yeah, or maybe it'll turn into, righty lefty depending on the pitcher, If they're
do they bat differently? I think they're both righties, aren't they?
Vientos is a righty, Beatty's a left-handed hitter.
Beatty's lefty. I did not know that. Okay.
He throws right, but he bats left.
Okay. Okay, so that's what
so maybe if there's a lefty pitcher on the mound, Vientos will play third base.
I'm fine with that. That's kind of like what we did with DH last year with
Vogelbach and whoever. Yeah,
Vogelbach and Ruff. Was it Ruff?
Oh yeah, Darren Ruff. That was rough.
That was rough.
That was rough. Oh man.
So was Vogelbach. Honestly, Vogelbach was not very good either.
Artemi Panarin career high 42nd goal. Let's go.
Let's go.
The game up at 2. It was 2-0. when I looked before, I literally just turned around. I saw the crowd going, and I see 2-2. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, and I want to just say for any New Jersey Devils fans watching this, I can root for my friend to be happy. Okay, it doesn't affect the Devils at all. You guys are already way ahead of us. Don't worry about it. Let's go.
So we'll see. Like I said, it's a big game. But yeah, we'll see. And as we've said many times about the Mets and whatnot, I'm not trying to over exaggerate and say, oh yeah, the Mets are gonna, make a run into the playoffs, this and that, and blah blah. All I'm trying to say is, I think the Mets will be better than what people expect this year.
Which would be an improvement from last year, where we were way worse than everybody expected.
I think they will be better than last year. I could see the Mets winning 85 games in that realm.
Can we push 90? Let's push 90 and go for a wild card. I think if everybody falls together perfectly and everything like that, if all the pieces fall together, why not 90?
Yeah, why not? Or even like 88 and get into a wild card spot. I think they could potentially push for that.
Yeah, I've always said, I said last podcast and everything like that, and I'm going to keep continuing to say that. I think we could push for a wild card. Yeah, I think that would be really fun. Honestly, let's see what happens, man.
Yeah.
It's the same exact thing with the Devils. No, we're not the best team in the league. No, we're not even close to that, okay? But, hey, get us in the door and play baseball.
And let's just fucking
see what happens, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Get into that door, into that wild card series and see what happens.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, with as good as, Quintana, Manaea, and Severino have looked, you still have to remember the Mets currently do not have, but will be getting back their number one pitcher, Kodai Senga.
Yes, of course. We're not forgetting about Kodai Senga. I think he's still taking about a month, right?
No, from what I heard a couple days ago, they ran some more tests and did some MRIs. The inflammation has receded; it is gone.
Excellent news.
From when we are recording, as of right now on Saturday, March 23rd, we are probably just a few days away from him beginning to throw. So as far as him pitching again, yes, it could potentially be like another month.
Okay. So, that's been
from
on
him,
par with what we've been saying.
Back to like pitching in games and stuff like that. But
from the start, we've been saying a month after opening day. So, we're kind of on par.
They could potentially be on par with him returning sometime in like early May.
I'm okay with that.
Which, again, if he could stay healthy for the rest of the season from then, we still get good contributions from Quintana, Severino, Manaea, Hauser, McGill.
I'm okay with even being like, if Quintana is showing as good as he's been in spring training, if Severino is showing as good as he's been in spring training, our bullpen has been showing up. Edwin Diaz is coming back. Hey, man, if he needs to take till late May, let's be cautious. Let's just be cautious. You know what I'm saying? What are we even risking at this point? This is by far our best pitcher. So let's just see what we got. Be cautious. Let him come back 100%, 110%.
Yeah.
And then let's bring him back.
Yeah. Especially like if you go through the first month of the season and it's like, all right, hey, we got a winning record. We're playing good baseball. The 5 starters that we've been putting out there are pitching pretty well. Then, I don't see why not, maybe give him an extra week in the minors to, just get himself going and really get himself back into game shape and back, into the game before you bring him back to the majors.
Well, for that, I was just saying, all I'm saying is this is not our year. Even if everything works out 100% perfectly, we can get maximum a deep playoff run. We're not going to make the the championship series. That's for goddamn sure. The NLCS. We ain't
Hey,
making that.
I mean, we saw what happened in 2015.
I mean, the Diamondbacks made it with a worse record than we just projected the Mets for. Okay. So I'm not saying nothing's impossible. Okay. But realistically, what I'm saying is we probably do not have the pieces to make it this year. Okay.
Probably
Let's
not.
save this guy. Let's just rehab the fuck out of him. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Rehab the fuck out of him. Get that guy, get that arm back. I don't want it 100%. I want it 120%. I want medical staff all in on it, everything all in on it, so that when we come back next year and it is our year and this is our push, Sang is right there and fucking ready.
Sounds good to me. All right. Last thing I want to mention before we play our little game here is I'm guessing, have you heard about what's going on in LA with the Dodgers?
No.
Oh, man. Is this a fucking wild
With the Dodgers or Shohei Ohtani? Well, because everybody's heard about Shohei Ohtani.
Shohei Ohtani specifically, obviously.
Okay.
My God.
What have you heard? I want to hear your take on this.
So from what I've heard, there were like massive, like $1 million wire transfers made from Shohei Ohtani's bank account, supposedly to be paying off some gambling debts of his now former interpreter. But people are speculating that he's the one that was actually making the bets, and maybe the interpreter got blamed or was covering for Ohtani gambling on the game. And I've heard there is an investigation going on, but Ohtani is going to remain on the active roster for the Dodgers. But like, wouldn't that be absolutely insane if they find out that it was Ohtani making these bets? What is the MLB going to do?
That's a really good question.
I talked to another
know about that. I don't know what you do if you're the commissioner of the MLB and you find out that Ohtani is like betting on baseball games. The best case scenario that you're hoping for right now, and this is only from what I've found out, and I've read extensively on this because I figured we were going to talk about it. Yeah. So I really wanted to be like informed and in the know. So Ohtani moved these funds over to the interpreter to cover his gambling debts and everything like that. Now, that's the story that they're going with.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. Ohtani's just being a nice guy saying, hey, you do a lot for me. I'm going to do a lot for you. Here's $4 million so that you can cover your debts and everything like that. Yada, yada, yada. Now, it does not look good for Ohtani because this guy is saying that, and the interpreter is saying everything that you want a fall guy to say.
Oh, geez.
Okay. He said, like, they're being like, they're asking, they're like, did Ohtani know about the best? No. It was just me. No, it was just me. Only me. So Ohtani didn't know anything about what you were doing with. No. Just me. It was only me. So when you were talking to Ohtani about how much you were in debt, what did you say it was for? Oh, I didn't say anything about gambling. Nothing about gambling. It was all me. I misled him. I'm falling on the sword. I'm taking this and everything like that. That's exactly what you want a fall guy to say.
Yeah, 100%.
So it doesn't look good that way.
No.
Okay.
And for somebody like him, to be doing something that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And, so obviously we don't know what's going to happen with this investigation. But what I was going to mention is, like, if, the investigation goes through and they find out for whatever reason he did have something to do with it or was the one, what do they do? Because
that's what do you do, man?
One of my friends.
Imagine if LeBron James was caught in this type of shit. This is what we're talking about.
He's thinking, one of my friends had mentioned that he thinks this is the type of thing that if, Ohtani is eventually found to be guilty of something, whatever, this might be a situation where MLB finds a way to just kind of quietly sweep it under the rug.
I don't think you can at this point. There's no way you can.
Just
because the article that I was reading and what Twitter is saying and everything like that is that this guy is throwing games so that his interpreter could be in the black. Now that's a noble thing to do in a very closed concept. Okay, you're ruining the whole sport a bit. This is Blackhawks, Black Sox, level.
Yeah, because the way my friend was talking about it was kind of like talking about like a Michael Jordan situation where like he was gambling and they used his like 2-year retirement type of thing as like
to push it under the rug.
It only because, you know, my friend had mentioned that Shohei Ohtani is currently the face of a sport that has been declining in popularity over the last few years. And if they do something or suspend this guy or whatever, that's going to be a big hit to baseball.
It really is.
General.
It really is. Nobody stands.
At the same time, like you had just mentioned, that has to make me think about now, like when the whole Michael Jordan thing went down with his, you know, what people are saying was a gambling suspension that they played off as a retirement. That was in the 90s. We didn't have as much internet and social media as we do now. So it's going to be a lot tougher for them to sweep something like this under the rug if that, you know, again, all speculation of whether or not he is guilty of something.
And it's not just social media, all right, and the internet and everything like that. It's specifically these Monday morning quarterback warriors and everything like that just sit there and analyze literally everything you have said and done to figure. I mean, they're this is what happens with the internet and online and Twitter and everything like that. You do one thing and then there are 50, 60, 100 people analyzing literally everything that you've done prior to this to put that into context and everything like that.
So they're going to be looking at everything he said. They're going to be looking at all his games pitched and the stats and this and that. And they're going to be watching film and trying to find out like where, you know, maybe he seemingly mislocated a pitch on what they think could be purposed to give up a hit instead of strike somebody out. Or, you know, it's insane what people are able to do with today's technology. And if he is found guilty of something, it's going to be really tough for the MLB to try and kind of just brush this off without doing something.
And not only that, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. He has had games where he has given up, like uncharacteristically, just 6 runs out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, like if they can tie that back to a bet that was made in his hometown from this booking company and everything like that, I mean, it's kind of like the Dak Prescott with the extortion thing. It's like the proof is here. You know what I'm saying? It's right there in front of you. There's no ifs, ands, or buts, deciding, debating, or anything like that. It's there, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is definitely,
it's a very
they better hope that Ohtani had nothing to do with this. They better hope that he was just trying to be a really good guy. You know? And trying to.
If not, it's a very tough situation because I agree with my friend there. Like, you know, suspending like somebody like Ohtani, you know, the face of the MLB, considering the MLB, you know, obviously it has been struggling for that, you know,
relevance
and relevance over the last few years.
Yeah, with the rise in popularity of basketball, it's been really hard
basketball and football and all the other stuff.
Well, I mean, football's always been number 1, you know.
Yeah. Well,
you've always been kind of competing for number 2, and you're never going to touch the NFL in American sports. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, baseball for the longest time was America's pastime. Obviously, not so much over the last 15 years or so, 20 years.
I would say even longer than that. I would say in the 2000s, it's been football.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, we're dealing with 20 years of just trying to be number 2, and now the face your LeBron James, your Michael Jordan, your Wayne Gretzky is now the face of this. Yeah, it's gross.
Potentially scandalous. Like
worse than scandalous. It could ruin the league.
Yeah, that's true.
I wanted to get your opinion on one thing really quick, football wise.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? It just came out. Football Muse did the stats and everything as of this week. Okay, the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants, as an offense, are rated. The Dallas Cowboys are rated number 3 in the league in the most money spent just on their offense, and the Giants are rated number 6 in the league in most money spent on their offense. Now, I'm waiting for you and your opinion on that, where you are and where you stand right now. Okay. As a Giants fan who just cut Saquon Barkley and sent him over to the Eagles and everything like that, and we're still number 6 in the league, where the fuck is this money going? Where is this money going?
I don't know.
Who are we paying?
Danny Dimes.
No, it's not Danny Dimes. Because you want to know what? Danny Dimes is a top 10 quarterback paid in the league right now. There are 10 other quarterbacks being paid more than Danny Dimes. More than Danny Dimes. I want to know. I got to know. We're going to look this up as you sit here and complain about the Dallas Cowboys being number 3, okay? Because I want to put this into perspective for you, okay? Neither you nor I in the past, neither your team nor my team in the past 2 years has had the success as the Philadelphia Eagles have, right? Correct?
Yep.
You can hate them, but we have to admit they've had more success than us, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
The Eagles are number 22. After acquiring Saquon Barkley, they're number 22. Where are we spending this money, Ryan?
I don't know.
Where are we spending this money?
I don't know.
I have to know. Not one guy, and granted, I can't speak for the Cowboys. I'm hoping that you speak for the Cowboys after I'm done ranting and everything like that. But there is not one guy on our offense other than Andrew Thomas who deserves to be paid more than top 10 money. Where is his money going? Unfreaking believable. I'm looking this up right now.
I don't. Well, the Cowboys, obviously, we know, a lot of that money is going to Dak Prescott. I don't know.
Top 10 quarterback in the league. It's no, you. It's okay. Yeah. Okay.
He's like top 3. Yeah,
he's top
whatever.
3, yeah.
For the Cowboys, because Tyron Smith is gone now, so that was a lot of money. I guess I know they cut Michael Gallup, but they might still be paying him money. I don't know if they paid CeeDee Lamb yet. I think they might have. They don't have they're not paying any big money for any running back. I don't know.
I pulled it up. Okay. Number 1, you could probably guess. Daniel Jones, $47 million. Danny Jones ranks. Can I pull that up? In the top 10. I can't name for sure, but he ranks in the top 10 for most money spent on a quarterback. So that's fine. Okay? Because of what you're trying to get. Okay? Ready for this? After that, second, Andrew Thomas. Fine. Okay. One of the better left tackles in the league.
Yeah.
Okay? $23 million. That's acceptable. Okay. After that, Darren Waller.
Okay.
Is going to retire.
Because
he's done with football and he gets hurt too much and he just doesn't want to play anymore. He says, I don't want to play anymore. Okay, so Darren Waller, Darius Slayton,
Oh man.
$15 million.
All
Okay.
right.
Drew Lock, $10 million.
That's right. They just signed him.
Evan Neal, bust,
Bust.
$9 million.
Okay.
Right tackle, bust, complete fucking garbage. So we're
Yeah.
paying Darius Slayton as a top 10 wide receiver who has not produced nearly anywhere
No.
near top 10 wide receiver money. We're paying Andrew Thomas as a top 5 tight end, as a top 5 left tackle. That's
I could
fine.
see
That's
that. Yeah.
acceptable. Darren Waller, Jesus Christ. God damn. Just retire, please.
Yeah.
So that comes off our money. Please just retire. And then Evan Neal, the biggest, and Drew Lock. This is our team. This is our team. This is our top 5 guys. Drew Lock, get excited.
What about the Cowboys? What
Let's
do
go
I
to the
have?
Cowboys. Let's go. You want to know the
Let-
Cowboys?
Let me hear the disappointment. Obviously, we know what number 1 is.
Yes. Update. Dallas Cowboys salary cap. Let's go to cap hit 2024. Boom. Okay. Dak Prescott, $55 million.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
CD Lamb, $23 million. Top
That's
5
fine.
wide receiver.
That's fine. He's up there.
Okay, so he is up there, top 5 wide receiver. You're okay with that?
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
After the season he had last year, especially.
Number 3, Trayvon Diggs, $20 million, top 10 lineman.
Okay. But Trayvon Diggs isn't offense.
Oh, no, Zach Martin. I'm sorry. Zach Martin.
Okay. Yeah, no, one of the best, probably the best right guard in the game. Okay.
Okay, so you're okay with that?
Yes.
Michael Gallup.
Oh, God, no. They
$13,850,000, top 20 wide receiver.
No, that they just cut him. Again, we talked about this last week. I loved the guy up until he got hurt. After that ACL injury, he's just never been the same, which sucks.
You're on the books for that money, though. That sucks.
Yeah, and that sucks. And he's not going to be playing for them next year.
Terrence Steele.
Oh, God.
Another $15 million, top 10 lineman.
Again, that's a tough one because a couple years ago, again, that was another one. He was one of the best right tackles in the game like 2 or 3 years ago. And then it wasn't this past season. It was the year before. It would have been 2022. I think he got injured. And in 2023, he just came back and wasn't the same.
Okay.
So
that's a work in progress.
He was good. And then I think he got the contract before the 22 season, got hurt. And then last year was just, he sucked.
Okay. Fair enough. So, I mean, that's still a work in progress. You still have kind of high hopes for him.
That could be he could come back and have a bounce back year next year. Who knows?
Number 5, last one, in your top 5, Brandon Cooks, $10 million, top 20 wide receiver.
He is still under contract.
That's what it says. Brandon Cooks.
Okay. I mean,
$10 million this year.
Okay.
He is 3.84% of your cap.
If in 2024 he can have a full season of what we saw in the second half of last season, then yes.
Okay, so 4 out of 5 you're comfortable with.
That's still fucking money, though. But
it's a lot of money.
I didn't say I was comfortable with Dak Prescott. I just knew where he was. Okay. I'm not comfortable with that, though.
All right, fair enough. All right, so 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5 you're comfortable with to be a top 3 spender in the NFL. Yeah. Okay? We're right below you guys. I'm not okay with any of them. Wait, Andrew Thomas.
Yeah,
I'm okay with Andrew Thomas.
Not okay with Dak Prescott. CD Lamb, yes. Because he's shown improvement every year. He had a great season last year. It's arguable, but he's definitely top 10, if not top 5.
Yeah.
Zach Martin getting older, but the best right tackle in the game. And again, Brandon Cooks, 1,000-yard seasons almost every year of his career. even though he's bounced around from team to team to team to team to team. And again, had a slow start last year. But if in 2024, if we can get a full season of what we saw from him in the second half of last year,
or even if you saw even anything from his time in Houston,
which we saw in the second half of last year, giving him $10 million, I could understand that.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm okay with Andrew Thomas. I don't know where we're getting this money from. I don't know how we're spending this money on these losers. How are the Eagles so low? How do they finesse us this badly?
I don't know, because
how do they finesse us this badly? This is Utah. This is a you loss as much as a me loss too, because the Eagles' offense is so much better than ours.
Yeah,
right?
If you think about it, they gave Jalen Hurts a big contract. AJ Brown has a big contract, and they just paid Saquon Barkley a lot of money.
That must be it then. It must be those four guys.
All of their linemen and tight ends must be making like nothing.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be really honest with you. This is a big prediction for next year and everything like that. I promise you, Jason Kelce is gonna ruin that line. The fact that Jason Kelce retired, that line's not gonna be the same again.
No,
I promise you, it's not gonna be anywhere
100%.
close to the elite line that it's been.
Yeah, 100% agree.
So sign us off, buddy. What do you got for me?
So next time we come on here, next time we record, most likely the MLB season will have started. So we can talk about that. Obviously, NHL and NBA will be that much closer to the postseason. And it's still a little bit early, but within the next few weeks, we can start talking about the NFL draft as well.
All right.